Hello, my friends, and welcome to my weekly Wednesday broadcast. I am going to jump right in, and I'm curious. Are you doing even one holiday craft fair this year? Because I have a free guide that will help you pick the best products that showcase your beautiful surface pattern designs or illustrations, and you'll walk away and you'll walk into the event with a simple plan to maximize your profits. My dear friend, Pauline Riley, is going to put the link in the comments, but you can find my free guide by going to members.artwithann.com/craft fair. But it's also in the description of today's broadcast. So, as a friendly reminder, I am Ann LaFollette, and the guide is full of the top lessons that I learned from doing my very first holiday craft fair several years ago. And I go look at it every single year before I do one so that I don't forget any of my top tips. So let's talk about it. If you're new here, every Wednesday I go live to help creative entrepreneurs like you build income from their art. And the fourth quarter, October, November, December, are critical times for us because it's an opportunity for us to get our products and our designs out into the world and get customer reactions, sell them, and add some income into our business this year in 2025. And my motto is, it's never too late to create. And I like to mention that because I started down this path after a 30-year career in retail. I got laid off very unexpectedly, and I decided to pick myself up, dust myself off, and become a creative entrepreneur. I was not an entrepreneur before. I had a corporate job, but I wanted to be my own boss so that no one could ever take my job away from me again. And this all started for me in my 60s, which is why it's so important for perhaps you to embrace the concept that it's never too late to create. So today I'm going to focus on my craft fair guide. It's a beautiful 12-page guide that is in full color, and you can get it free by going to members.artwithann.com/craft fair, and there's just a dash between those two words. It's totally free, and I created it partially for myself, but also for you so that you can choose the right fair, the right products to offer, and most importantly, create a profitable sales plan. So as we get started, tell me in the chat, are you planning on doing a craft fair this season? Type a yes in the comments, or maybe type in maybe, but let me know one way or the other if you're thinking of doing one this year. And then I'm going to start with a quick story. If you know me and you've been around these parts for a while, you know I frequently say start simple because you can always get fancy later. And so at my very first holiday fair, I did keep things really, really simple. I only sold 5 things. I sold some mugs that had beautiful designs on them, like these. I also sold a lot of greeting cards, which were, of course, seasonally appropriate greeting cards. Those are beautiful with ornaments on them. This is a really pretty wreath. It's actually a watercolor illustration. I also sold a lot of notebooks that have, this is actually a hardcover notebook that has one of my designs on it. All of these have my designs on them. And then these are my wrapping papers, a lot of holiday themed wrapping papers, which of course is very appropriate when you're going into the holiday season. And then I also had tote bags. And I actually have a tote bag down at the house that I take with me to the grocery store every single day. And it's a great marketing tool because everybody always asks me where I got it. And I said, it's actually mine. It's got my own design on it. So I kept things really, really simple, right? I brought mugs, tote bags, notebooks, greeting cards, and wrapping paper, all of which, of course, had my beautiful designs on them. and I had no idea what would happen. It was my very first time participating in a craft fair. But of course, I picked the holiday season, so I knew there'd be a lot of traffic. I knew there'd be a lot of people looking for gifts. So the timing was really good, and I'm thrilled to share and lean into this. It was a 2-day event, and I made $1,000 in profit over the course of those 2 days. And I learned so much about what customers were looking for and what sold best. That day taught me which products were the most popular. It also told me how to bundle items together to create great gift packs. And it also let me demonstrate how good I am at table presentation. Right? I've been in had been in retail for a really long time, so I knew how to make a really pretty display. And I put everything together for you, the exact lessons and the exact tips into this guide so that you don't have to learn the hard way. Whether you've done one in the past or you might be doing it for the very, very first time, I just want to give you the benefit of everything that I learned, and you can go grab it at members.artwithann.com/craft fair. And there's a little dash in between those two words. But let me highlight just 3 tangible takeaways from the guide. Now, there are 8 in total, but I don't want to take too much of your time. I always try to do these live streams in about 15 or 20 minutes, so I'm going to dive into 3 of them. The first and most important, perhaps, is to pick the right fair, right? It's important for us to start at the very, very beginning because there's a lot to know about what is the best fair. It's really, really critical that you pick the right fair because they all have different rules. For example, the very first thing you want to know is, can you attend for free? Or are they going to charge you a table fee or a participation fee? Or are they going to take a % of your sales? So I only go to events that are completely free so that I know from the get-go I don't have to account for any fee for either the table or for participation that is going to reduce my profits. Because, I had a 30-year career in retail, so I'm very financially minded. And in particular, I'm very profit minded. So you want to make sure that you can find out whether there is a fee or not. Now, the second thing you want to find out about is who else is going to be there. So you want to be at a fair where you're going to be providing something quite different from most other people who are there. It's totally fine if there are going to be some other people who have greeting cards, for example, but you don't necessarily want to be at a fair where everyone is doing exactly the same thing that you're doing. You want to differentiate yourself from what the other offers are so that if somebody wants to buy jewelry, they go to the jewelry table. But if they want to grab easy, very accessible gifts like mugs, notebooks, tote bags, wrapping paper, etc., greeting cards, they'll come to your table. So it's good to know what the vendor mix is going to be so that you know that there's a place for you and that it's a logical place where customers are going to be going to purchase things from you as well as other vendors. Also, critical to understand, is it a 1-day event or a 2-day event, and what are the hours? Frequently, as we get closer and closer to the holidays, there will be 2-day events, which is the ones I like the best. And the reason I like them the best is because you can see how you do on the first day, and then you can adjust in the moment to ensure that that overall you achieve all of your goals, because you can adjust after day 1 to make sure that day 2 makes up for any shortfall you might have had on the first day. So that's the biggest place to start, or the most important place to start, is what's the best fair for you to participate in, right? Because the right fair is going to translate into the right customers. All right, takeaway number 2 is keep your selection, your merchandise selection, really simple. Now, you don't have to pick what I picked. Again, I picked greeting cards, mugs, tote bags, notebooks, and wrapping paper. And the reason that I thought that those were great is because I could both sell them individually if somebody just wanted one mug, but I could also offer them like a 4-pack. Frequently, if people are giving someone else a gift and the family likes coffee, or they're going to have friends over for coffee, you want 2 mugs, or you want to buy 4 mugs so that everyone can have the same mug, or they can do a mix and match. So that's a great way to boost the value of your average order size. And I know I'm probably throwing around some retail terminology that you may not be familiar with, but that's where my 30 years of retail experience comes in. And you want to be thinking about, how can I get somebody to buy more than one thing? And so creating bundles is a great way to do that. Another example would be if someone comes up and they love your notebooks. This is actually a hardcover notebook. I also have soft cover versions. I have some that have lined paper, some have no lined paper, some have that dot grid paper. But for example, someone might decide that they just want to buy one for themselves, but while you're talking to them, you can also say, well, why don't you buy a 3-pack, because there's a discount if you buy 3. And then that gives you a larger transaction size, but it also gives them 3 so they can keep one for themselves and give 2 of them to friends as gifts. So that's this whole concept of selling things individually, but also creating really, really fun bundles. Now, another great bundle is actually kind of a mix and match bundle. So I do this both during the holiday time frame, but I also do it during back to school or at the end of school, the school year, which is to bundle a tote bag, a mug, and a notebook together as a teacher's gift. And you can do that and talk about it being a teacher's gift during the holidays as well, because a lot of people already know their kids are already telling them their favorite teachers, or maybe it's their homeroom teacher. And so it's a great time to purchase a Christmas gift for them or a holiday gift for them. Lots of ways to create wonderful bundles. Now, the third takeaway I wanted to share with you is it's really important to have a simple prep checklist, right? So in this guide, in the back of the guide, I actually have a separate piece of paper, right? I have a separate little checklist for you, which is your pre-fair checklist, so that you don't forget all of these really important things that might cost you sales or also just make it more uncomfortable to be on your feet for several hours. So, for example, you want to have clear price tags. So you may want to price everything and have the tag on your items before you go. You want to make sure you have a working card reader, or you have like a dongle at the end of your phone so people can just pay you directly using their phone. You might want to have a little bit of petty cash, but most people are not going to pay in cash. Everybody is kind of, credit card, right? It's a credit card transaction. You want to make sure you have things like a charger for your phone. I think that I also have in here an extension cord in case your table is really, really far away from the outlet. So it's another really great way for you to make sure that you have to focus, of course, on your products, on your pricing, on your inventory management, and all of that is in the guide. But also you want to not forget these other little things, like what are you also going to put in each gift, like your card, so they can contact you if they wanted to get additional things after the event itself. Or do you have your own beautiful gift wrap? Like I've got gift wrap, but I don't use that to wrap things, but I have tissue paper. That's the word I was looking for. I have signature tissue paper that's gorgeous that I can put in the bag for people as I'm helping them put their gifts in a bag to take home with them. So these are all little things that really make a big difference and you want to think about them in advance so that you don't find that you forgot them. And as I mentioned, I worked in retail for over 30 years, and so I know a thing or two about merchandising your table. So there's a whole section in the guide about how to set your table to attract customers and make sure that there's a lot of ways for them to see that you have different items, so that you're going to put them at different levels to create interest and sort of a more dynamic display. So the other thing too is I spent years in inventory management. And so in the guide, you'll learn how to purchase small quantities of your products so that you don't have a basement full of leftovers after the event. So again, you can grab the guide. It's totally free. The link is in the comments, but it's also members.artwithann.com/craft fair, and there's a little dash between those two words. I'd love for you to download it and start planning now so that your first or your next craft fair goes really, really smoothly. Now, one of the things that I also talk about is how planning your numbers is a really great way for you to remain very well prepared, and it might calm any pre-fair nerves that you had. So if you really like kind of a plug and play Google spreadsheet that is totally customizable, you can have access to my craft fair profit calculator. It's only $10, and it's on the thank you page after you opt in for the free guide. And listen, it's fully customizable. So you can add your own products. You can add how much they cost you to acquire them. What's your inventory investment? Then there's a section where you put in your retail price, right? What you plan to sell them all for. You can add additional rows so that you can create your own bundles. And guess what? I've created calculations, formulas, so once you put those pieces of information in, it calculates your profit margin for you. But the best way for you to get started is just grab the free guide, right? Grab the free guide so that you know actually how to go through the 8 different things that I recommend that you do. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share my screen for a second and show you where you can get the guide. So let's see, I'm here and I want to share my screen, and I'm going to see if that pops up in just a second because I know that there's always a little bit of a delay. And there you go. So this is, once you go to members.artwithann.com/craft fair with a dash in between those two words, you'll land on a page that looks just like this. All you need to do is put in your full name and your best email, and then you want to say, yes, I want the guide. And I just tell you that you're going to discover the 8 steps that I used to turn a simple booth into a sellout event. You'll learn what to sell, how to price everything, and exactly how to stand out so you can walk away with profit and confidence. And selling at a craft fair doesn't have to be overwhelming because I share how to find the right fair, the 5 product types that for me always sell incredibly well. I also talk to you about my system for bundling products so that you can boost your average sale. And I show you a specific example that's a real example, step by step, where I made $100,000 in profit. I made $1,000, excuse me. I made $1,000. It's my proven step-by-step process for making $1,000 in profit, right? And so what do you want to learn from me? I've sold at multiple craft fairs, and at my very first event, I made $500 in profit on the first day in just 4 hours, and then I made the balance to achieve that $1,000 profit on day 2. And part of that was because I had great bundles, and also it's because my wrapping paper was incredibly, incredibly successful. So your craft fair success starts here. Just grab the guide by going to members.artwithann.com/craft fair. So I'm going to come back on screen, and now what I want to do is I want to show you this gorgeous guide. So I'm going to close these various windows that I have open on screen, and I'm going to see whether if I go here now, I can show you the gorgeous guide. Hello, Jean. I see that Jean is here, and I also see that Sylvia is here. So this is my beautiful craft fair guide. It's your comprehensive guide to a profitable craft fair. And I'm just going to slide down so you can see there's a lovely note at the beginning. And then I walk you through these 8 steps, right? So here are the 8 key steps to help you create your first fabulous craft fair experience. We start with finding the right fair, just like I mentioned, then picking your products. This is step number 2. And you see, I can show you a whole bunch of my products right there. You can see the pictures. Then you can move on to getting your designs ready, right? So if you don't actually know where to go to get those designs, I give you some input about where you want to go to get them. Then you want to plan out your sales, which is where my calculator comes in really handy. And then you want to make sure that you're marketing the event so that everyone knows you're going to be there. And then step 7 is your supplies and your setup and your checklists, right? You want to keep your table clean and simple. I show you examples of some of my table setups. And then I also have your bonus tips to make sure that you know how to make it as easy as possible for people to pay you. And then number 8, of course, is to have fun. And here's the checklist, right? Before we say goodbye, I want to make sure you don't miss the last page, which is page 12, I believe, where I have your supplies checklist to make sure that you have everything with you. And don't leave anything at home before you head over to your actual event. So I hope that was both fun and instructive, and that you feel like if you grab the guide, you will absolutely be set up for success. Let me say hello to who else is here. Pauline Riley, thank you so much for putting members.artwithann.com/craft-fair into the comments so everybody can find it. And it's lovely to see Sylvia's here. Jean, it's wonderful to see you. I can't believe we're heading into the holidays, but it's a wonderful, wonderful time of year. And I would love to support you so that you can get the benefit of everything that I learn every time I do a craft fair during the holiday season, which is the best time of the year to do them. All right. I also like to always close by saying that I am Ann LaFollette, and it's never too late to create. Let's do some cute little emojis to close out today's broadcast. And grab your guide at members.artwithann.com/craft fair, the little dash between the 2 words, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.